Well, hello, Earthlings and fellow Beaconites. As I mentioned in my other video, this will be a brief introduction to the Stellarium Web program. And so let's just get started. First thing you want to do is open your favorite internet browser and to your whatever your home page. Of course, here I am at my favorite home page, the Clan McMuffin. It's a good place to start. So we go up here and we want to type in stellarium-web.org. That's stellarium-web.org. And that will take us directly to their web app. And so you see here we've got a night sky. We can see a ground line. And then over here on the left we have this panel. So let's deal with this right now. So let's just we want to turn on the ecliptic line. This is the line where it lies in the plane of the planet's orbits around the sun. So that will help us keep up with that. The others, the Milky Way, we wanted to show deep sky objects and simulate refraction is basically the atmosphere. Just right quick for information. And then the planets tonight here, as you can see, these are the planets that you can see with the naked eye from the from Earth, and of course the sun and the moon. And the ones that fall inside the black area are the ones at night. You can see here the ones we're going to be dealing with are Jupiter and Saturn, and then Mars will be rising in the morning along with the moon. Mercury it could be visible, but it's so close to the sun it's hard to see, and the same with Venus in the early morning. So that again is for information. So we want to get rid of this this little panel. We can click on what they call here the hamburger, because it looks like a bun with a piece of hamburger meat in it. If you're vegan, you can just call it a vegan burger. So let's first go down here, work our way across. It says here I'm near Knoxville, which is true. You can bring that up. If it's near your location, you're probably good. There's no reason to fine tune this. It won't make hardly any difference. That's very near my house, not necessarily, but if it doesn't say that it's near you, you can go up here under the search. Don't click on it, just hover over it and then start typing. If you want to Minneapolis, my friend up in Minneapolis, you hit enter. It'll give you a list of let me do that again. Hit enter. Let's don't move the mouse. Let's just use our down arrow key, and we'll go down till it says Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'll hit enter, and then say use this location. And so here we are in Minneapolis during daylight. If you want to, for some reason, set your location somewhere else, just temporarily to see what maybe one of your friends will be seeing at the same time, that's fine. To get back home, this bullseye should take you back home. If it doesn't, again, you can go to the location and put in the name of your town, and then again say use this location. Now let's work our way across the bottom here. These icons, constellations, we'll turn on the lines for the constellations. I like that. I'll leave that on. This is the constellation art, and it's pretty, and you can look at that, but it can be very confusing. So let's turn that off. Atmosphere you can see it along the horizon. It makes it simulates looking through hazy, foggy atmosphere. This is the landscape. If you turn that off, then the only thing you got is this fuzzy line that says this is the horizon, and you can see everything below the horizon. That's confusing. I'll leave landscape on. This is not actually your landscape. It's unfortunate you can't do that, but anyway, the azimuth grid is just an astronomical thing. I wouldn't find that very useful. The equatorial grid, same thing. Deep sky objects, you can turn them on and off. I'd leave them on. It doesn't show a lot of them anyway. The night mode, It turns this all red. If you take this outside at night and want to use on your laptop or something, and you want to use it and look at the stars, if you put it in night mode, and when you look at this screen, it doesn't, because it's red, your pupils don't dilate, and so then when you look up at the sky, you don't have to wait for your eyes to readjust to the dark. And then this last one here is a full screen, and as you can see, it's exactly that. We're going to leave it in that. It says escape to exit, so to get out of it, we just need to hit escape. So moving on across over here is your date and clock time. It generally comes up here at 22. That's Zulu time, so that'd be 22 o'clock or 10 p.m. in normal time. As you can see, the clock is counting, so this is actually moving, but we can halt it right there, and then we can set this to be anytime we want it to be. And then as we move around from day to day, we can see the changes at the same time that happen at the same time each night. Okay, let's go up here and look at our sky view up here. If you notice here, we're looking north. Well, your ecliptic and your planets, the moon, all will tend to be to the south. So I'm left clicking with my mouse and just dragging it across till I come up. Now I'm looking due south. Here's due south. Looking, this is west, and east is on over here. It's a little bit off or out of our view. We can zoom in and out by scrolling the wheel, and so I can zoom out enough so I can get east to west in there. But I mainly am interested in the ecliptic here. So the show that I did of the planets and the moon. If we go over here, we'll just leave that at 22:15. That's close enough. So if we look at this, this is 6:11. If we start advancing it one day at a time, 12. You can see here. Here's Scorpio, the constellation Scorpio with the star Antares, which is one of the brighter stars. If you click on that and you get these 4 little targets, it will come up and it will give you information on Antares, including a link to and information out of Wikipedia, which will tell us here that this is the 15th brightest star in the night sky. So let's just go on again. Scorpio was to me one of the more recognizable constellations because of these 3 stars out here that are part of it, and of course Antares. Now let me just mention that the ecliptic, along the ecliptic, you will find all of these constellations that make up the zodiac: Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, and over here hiding behind the tree are the twins Gemini. And of course, the reason why these, if you ever wondered why these particular constellations are so important, it's because in fact they do lie along the ecliptic, and all of the planets and the moon and the sun moves along this line, not right along it, it'll be on either side of it, but it moves basically along this line. So that's why those particular constellations are so important. So when they say that the moon lies in Leo, then that means that the moon is somewhere right in here. So okay, now if we go ahead and we keep moving our clock, our date, we're moving the day. You can see here as we get toward the end of June, all of a sudden we get Saturn and Jupiter beginning to come up over the horizon. Also, you may have noticed, let me back up a little, as the moon comes across and it changes from a new moon and tends toward waxes toward the full moon, that you can even see your foreground lightening up here from the light from the moon itself. And so at some points you get over here, and now we get our first conjunction that we were looking at. It happens in July 5th. Now, real quick, this is about all I want to show you. I want to just show you one nice feature of this. If you click on the Ganymede. If you click on an object and it shows up, here's Jupiter. If we click on this bullseye, it will bring that then to the center of your screen. Now, if you zoom in, you can either use these plus minus, or you can scroll with your mouse wheel. And as you scroll, as you zoom in, at some point, you all of a sudden begin to see these are the moons of Jupiter. These four: Callisto, Europa. Excuse me. These are the moons of Jupiter. Callisto, Europa, Io, and Ganymede are what's known as the Galilean moons. That's the moons that Galileo first saw when he turned his telescope toward Jupiter. Now, as you zoom in, you get these others: Amalthea, Thebes, and Metis. You get all of them. You see Jupiter itself. You see the bands on it. Here's the red spot. And at this time of night, on this day, the red spot is facing us. This is real time. So if you turn your telescope on Jupiter on this date, on 7/5, at 10:15, this is what you would see in your telescope. Now, let's zoom out. I'm just going to go to a couple of these. Let's go to Saturn. Let's click this to bring it to the center, and let's start zooming in. And now you see its moon: Iapetus, Titan, Tethys, Rhea, Janus, and then all of a sudden we get the rings of Saturn come into view, and you can see the cloud formations on Saturn also. So this is one of the neatest features of this program. Let's just go one last here. If we go here to the moon, bring it to the center as we zoom in. This is a near full moon here. Matter of fact, it says it's 99%. If you look up here in the information in the box, it says 99% full right here. So you see some very detailed information on the moon. I believe right over here was where Neil Armstrong walked, right over in this area somewhere. I'd have to review my moon lore to make sure that's true. Just for a couple others, let's just, I'm going to move this up by months. We're going to move it up, and we're going to get in here to, here's December, and Orion has started rising back here a month or so before, and this is another one of those more prominent, more recognizable constellation, Orion the Hunter. We turn this on, we can see here's Orion Nebula, and he's holding this lion skin. You can see the lion's head here, and his shoulders, Bellatrix and Betelgeuse, and then Saiph and Rigel down here are his feet. And then, of course, you have the belt of Orion here that everyone tends to be familiar with. Some people call this the Three Sisters, and they say it points to the east. And if you line those up, it doesn't point directly east, but it points. It's a good indicator. And then you got the belt of Orion, and if you zoom in enough, you can see that the Orion Nebula, and so these features are included in there. And this is some of the space photography. Let me turn off the background here. If we move right on up here, we can see also in Orion, just below the belt here on the left, is the Horsehead Nebula. This is one that most everybody is familiar with, if they pay any attention to the pictures from Hubble, etc. So this is one of the nicer features. I'm gonna pull around here toward the north, and right here, the Cassiopeia, right next to it is Andromeda Galaxy, and I'm gonna pick it, center it up, and then we'll zoom in, and you can see Andromeda Galaxy is a spiral galaxy that looks much like the Milky Way, and you can then see its two neighbor satellite galaxies. These three, along with the Milky Way, are a local group of galaxies. So let's go ahead and zoom in on Mars since I'm here. As you get close, you begin to see that its two moons, Phobos and Deimos, and you can even see the ice cap and the features of Mars. This is all very detailed, and this is one of the really nice things about the Stellarium program. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to in this introduction. If you want more information, just Google, YouTube videos Stellarium. Unfortunately, you might try doing Stellarium Web and you may get something. Unfortunately, you'll probably get the Stellarium program, which is much more robust, and they'll show you things that you can't do here. And just by the way, this hazy area right here is the Milky Way. So that's when we turned the Milky Way on a while ago. That's what this area is here. And you can actually see it going all the way across the sky. Which would tell you something if you think about it. The Milky Way is this way, and the ecliptic is this way. So that tells me that the sun, the plane of the ecliptic is not even with the Milky Way. We're tilted somewhat to the Milky Way. And so there you go. If you have any questions, you can email me. I'll have my email, just send me any questions you have, and I'll be glad to help. And with that, I hope you find this helpful. And until later, stay safe and hunker down. Bye bye.